All right, perfect. Hey, Yolessa, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here with you. So today we are talking about, first of all, will you please introduce yourself for those who don't know you yet? Yeah.
Okay. Whenever you say this, I'm like, I don't know what this is.
Me, I do the same thing too. Whenever anybody says introduce yourself, I'm like, who am I?
Yeah. So, well, I think the most relevant thing to say is I am the director at Sedona Healing Arts, and I developed what we like to call Spiritual Detox, now called 28-Day Awakening to Spirit. It's a cleanse that is designed to both address detox from a physiological point of view and also emotional, somatic, spiritual, as spiritual healing. So, and that's kind of where we're going to focus today. So I think that's it in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. And she's also a mom to a beautiful daughter.
I'm a mom.
You're a mom. Yeah, and now she's a mom. All right, so today we are tackling the subject of weight loss. First of all, I wanted to ask you, what happens to our bodies when we have like super extra weight, we're carrying extra weight? Like what kind of impact, like emotionally, physically, even spiritually, or does it have an impact? That's the first question.
Yes, so when we carry extra weight, so this is interesting because there's a lot of marketing out there around weight, or even being proud to be big, and I'm not negating it, but I'm gonna say this: when you have a lot of weight on your body, think of it as wearing like 3 extra backpacks. Like imagine you're walking around with 3 backpacks that you can never take off. Or for anyone who's gone through pregnancy, when you get into like the 3rd trimester.
Yeah.
Right? And you're bigger, your whole weight balance gets thrown off, right? Your what do you call it? Starts with the H. I'm not thinking of the word, but anyhow, like so the weight balance gets thrown off, and so that affects your feet, right? And it affects your hips. It affects the orientation of your whole body and puts more stress on certain areas. And that's why sometimes, for example, in pregnancy, suddenly people have diabetes or other conditions that they didn't have under normal circumstances. Yes, it's the same thing with being heavy, actually, because the extra weight is basically putting pressure on your bones and your organs in an unnatural way. With pregnancy, it's just a short period of time and then it's done.
Yeah.
But when you're big and it perpetuates, and I'm not talking, what we call chubby, I'm talking about, nearing obese. When you've got a lot of extra weight on you, you're carrying a lot, like you are really putting a great deal of stress on your joints.
Yeah.
A great deal of stress on the organs and the joints, and over time. oh dear.
Someone is calling you?
Oh dear. Yeah, somebody's calling me.
Like, oh dear. Yeah.
It puts a lot of stress on your joints and organs and the like, and as a result, you go through way more wear and tear, and you can develop all kinds of like conditions and diseases that you would not have. You wouldn't even have them but for the weight.
Okay. All right. So yes, so that's the physical. I know, like I can share me personally, when I have extra weight on myself, like I can actually literally, like when I'm walking, I can feel how I'm not breathing well. That's actually like a big deal to me, not breathing well. I have a harder time breathing, and I can't move as, like as freely in my body as
So I'm just talking about, like, I guess I got real specific with it, but what does that look like in terms of, like, your everyday life? You don't breathe a while, you can't move, you can't walk up a mountain, you know what I mean? You're not free with your body. You're not free with your body. Like all the ordinary things that we take for granted that we do with our physical body, you can't do them. And if you're physically not free, it's like you feel like you're in jail, like you become limited. Even basic things like going shopping, whatever, like going shopping or anything else, you can't endure them. And so the scope of which you can enjoy your life, with which you can enjoy your life, becomes so greatly limited. So just that physical limitation, so greatly limits the scope of our enjoyment and therefore happiness from a physical point of view. So from an emotional point of view, what is weight also doing? So obviously when you have all those, our health and happiness is related actually to being pain-free and to our physical wellness. So when we don't feel well in our body, when we have those physical limitations, and we don't feel free, and then not feeling free is basically the foundation for most emotional unhappiness. Like you don't feel free in some way or form. You have a conflict, whether it's this conflict or that conflict. So you don't feel free, and so you're going to have emotional stress, and that can show up, rear its head in all kinds of different ways, and then very naturally, over time, if that continues, that creates kind of a spiritual state, of depression or heaviness, darkness, like that. And if it goes on too long, it gets harder and harder to reverse, So that's the reality of carrying extra, of being heavy.
For most people.
For most people.
Maybe not for everybody, but for most people,
Most people, so I always laugh because I always say, people who carry a lot of weight, they're really strong. You have to be, because it's literally like you've gone to the gym and you're like never put down the weights and you're just walking around with it. So you're really strong, but like trying to be that strong and never putting down the weight all the time, you never get to relax. Your body can never recover.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So here's the thing. So we all notice that so often as we grow older, it becomes easier and easier to put on some weight, or harder and harder to lose weight. Why is that?
Usually I find for most people, by the time they're in their early 30s, some people younger, like 20s, depending on your lifestyle, but by the time they're in their early 30s, they see a change.
What does the change look like?
Speed of their metabolism. They feel like their metabolism slows down, and they can't eat the same or do the same things or not exercise and have the same body. They find that, or things like cellulite start coming on that they didn't have before. Their skin looks different, all these kinds of things. So what's really going on? I think I feel that it's the effect of accumulation. So if you've gone 30 odd years and you've never detoxed, really, not deeply, and now you're 30 plus years in it, you've built up a mountain of garbage essentially in your system for 30 years. And your system is going to slow down because it's getting clogged. It can no longer, it went through it for 30 years and it doesn't have as much room as it did 15 years ago to absorb, or deal with the garbage, so everything starts to slow down. That's what it is. I think it's a cumulative effect. It's not just all of a sudden at 30 something shifted. It shifted because of the accumulation of garbage. If you didn't have that accumulation, it wouldn't shift. You'd be into your 40s, 50s, even 60s, 70s, very healthy, and looking young.
So what do you mean when you say they've never detoxed? So what do you mean by that?
When I say somebody's never detoxed, meaning they've never gone through a really extensive process to remove built up toxins or waste from the food they eat and otherwise, and from the environment, from their organs. So over time, toxins and food that gets putrefied and doesn't totally come out through the poop. You might poop out some, but over time it's maybe it's hardened. It gets hardened inside your body from whatever the reason, dehydration or otherwise. It stays in the body, and over time, it putrefies and gets very hard and creates this kind of plaque inside the body. And over time, that builds little by little. Even though you're going to the bathroom, there's just builds little by little this residue, because not everything necessarily is coming out depending on the condition of your organs. And so this mucoid plaque that builds up needs to be broken down and disintegrated and digested in order for you to have the most optimal circulation. By the time you're in your early 30s, it's built itself up quite a bit, you know? Even if you consider yourself healthy, you probably still have plaque because you live in the world and there's pollutants in the world, you know? And that's where cleansing, you know, a lifestyle of cleansing every now and then becomes important.
Okay. So you mentioned circulation. I know you and I spoke recently about this, and you said, like what I said, oh, what are some of the major reasons why people are having such a harder time as they age? And one of the things that you mentioned was circulation. Can you explain a little bit what that means?
Okay, so circulation is, I want you to think of connective tissue in your body, or think of blood. And I want you to, or let's specifically think of your blood and think of water. Those are because your blood is carrying oxygen, you know, to all your organs. So if we know that if somebody has a lot of plaque in their arteries, right, their blood doesn't circulate well, isn't it?
Yeah.
We know this.
Yeah.
So, if your blood doesn't circulate, then the oxygen doesn't circulate. Then your body's ability to even detox itself and its ability to breathe properly becomes naturally greatly reduced as a result of the buildup of plaque. Now, that's plaque in your arteries, you know, and veins, but plaque develops all over the body, you know, cellularly and through the organs. Yeah. So you need to have good circulation in order to lose weight. Why? Because what is the extra fat or content that's holding on to your body? Usually it's toxins and stagnant kind of water, you know, and toxins trapped together with fat that need to be broken down. Or not, on top of that, even if it is purely fat, the fat needs to be broken down and disintegrated and digested. But if you're already overloaded, the body can't handle, you know, can only handle disintegrating some things and not others. And it's, rather than disintegrating the fat, it's going to do the emergency process of getting rid of toxins from your body first. You understand? Yeah. So it has to now prioritize.
Yeah. So what does it look like, the emergency way of getting rid of, you know, toxins?
What do you mean, the emergency way of getting rid of toxins? Like,
yeah, I think you said okay, I missed it because I heard something about emergency way of releasing something and I didn't follow. But anyways, let's digress. So let's say, for example, somebody is in their 30s and 40s, enters the 30s or 40s and stuff like that, or 50s or 60s, and they feel like, you know how a lot of the times you feel like, oh my God, like even though every year I keep saying I'm going to get myself healthier, I'm going to feel better in my body, every single year it feels like it just piles on and piles on and piles on, and before you know it, you really don't feel very comfortable in your body, right?
Right.
So what will you say, like, what can they do?
So what can they, so if somebody, so what can they do, like easily to
Like
feel more
where should they
comfortable?
start? Where should they start to start
So
feeling good in their body again? Yeah.
if you want to feel good in your body, so the first thing is you need to create circulation, right? We talked about that. So breathing,
Yeah.
probably is the first thing that needs to happen. Breathing is the first thing that needs to happen. If you want to feel good, because breathing will open up the circulation of your hormones and all the other things. So, you feel good when you release oxytocin and other hormones in your body. If you're breathing, those things aren't really circulating in you. Yeah. So the first thing is to breathe. And funny enough, breathing is also connected to the release of plaque and the breaking down of toxins in the body. Yeah.
But somebody watching this might say, but I breathe all the time. I'm alive and I'm breathing all the time. What do you mean by breathing?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, how well do you breathe? Have you ever seen like a baby breathe?
Oh, definitely. I understand what you mean. I understand because like that's why I said actually, for me, like when I start, like putting on some weight, one of the things I noticed very quickly is that I don't breathe very well anymore. I don't breathe deeply into my core, and I can't even it's very, very shallow. And for me, that's actually one step away from anxiety right there. For me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So that's exactly what happens. And that's because the ability for your body to circulate the oxygen is compromised. But if you use your consciousness, if you intend and you focus on it, and you focus on practicing breathing into the belly, and opening up the chest, actually, when you do that with intention, you can teach your body, you can reteach your body to pull in more oxygen and to circulate the blood more effectively. Yeah. It's just that through our habits, we've created like a neurological pattern of like breathing up here, and not being able to relax into it. So breathing is really the key to life, because breathing is all about circulation. The key to weight loss is essentially, breathing, and all its, when we're detoxing, what are we doing? We're actually getting the body to breathe. Yeah.
That makes sense, actually. That makes lots of sense to me, because I noticed that when I'm detoxing, all of a sudden, like I can even feel so much heat, like around.
Yes.
Like it's like a circulation. I can feel a lot of heat in my gut area, even my kidneys. I can feel a lot of like activities there.
Right.
A lot more than I would if I, like if I was full of garbage, like you say. Like
because and what's really going on is that when you have good circulation, that's how you were supposed to feel. So it's not an exceptional thing. It's that you got your circulation back and you're feeling what well-being feels like. And that's so important, because that's also you reconnecting to your sensitivity, because we lose our sensitivity and then we forget what healthy feels like, and so when we reconnect with what healthy feels like, it's like, oh my God, yeah. And then it's like an awakening, it's like a massive awakening. And then we strive for that thereafter. We're like, I want to feel like that. And then when we go a little bit away from that, we know we're going away from it. We can bring ourselves back. But when we get so numb from being so long, in a state of not having circulation or having a lot of heaviness in the body, we're numb to the fact that it's not normal.
Yes, we don't.
We could
so much sense. So much sense. Yeah, because we can't feel ourselves actually at that moment.
Yeah,
we can't feel ourselves.
Yeah, and so you gain back your senses, and then together with that, you're going to gain back your will to take care of yourself and do what it takes to get yourself back on track. It's really hard to get yourself back on track when you can't really feel your reality, when you're kind of like numb to it.
Yeah.
But when you wake up and when you truly wake up and have an awakening, you're like, oh my God, you know, where have I been? You know?
Yes.
Where have I been?
I think like the way I see it, I think it stems from the fact that all of a sudden you can actually feel yourself. Because otherwise there's a disconnect. There's a level of disconnect. And when you can feel yourself, you can feel like, oh, I want to take care of myself. Like it's natural. It's natural.
Yeah.
It's so funny
how those things connect, and then very naturally you come back to yourself and you're able to take the steps you need to take to get back. Before that, it's really hard. Before you have that kind of awakening, it's like really forcing all the time. Trying to force yourself to do this, or I should do this. It's I should. It's not coming from a natural impetus from within.
Yes, it makes sense. It's like I'm doing, like I just started like really the first step this week, and Aaron and my husband, like he is eating like this. He knows I love this. He's eating fried fish in front of me, and I usually love eating the head of the fish. And like every morning I see it, I'm like, oh, that looks good. But I have to admit, the first couple of days, it was kind of like a struggle. I was like, oh my God, it's calling my name. But then after 3 days, it was like, it's so natural. I just want to think.
Yes, that's the thing. After a few days and you get your senses back and you feel good. Yeah. And your body regulates itself. Yeah. It's like the addiction or it just dies. Yeah. It just dies because the normal thing that the brain wants to do is feel good. Yes. That's normal for the brain. And so as soon as the brain is like in its normal state, it's not addictive.
Yes.
Behavior.
Yeah. And it feels good. It feels so good. It feels so good.
It does. Yeah.
All right. So can you, so we've been talking about detoxing. Can you share a little bit what the detox is all about and why, like, today we talked about weight loss, but that is really just like one surface level of what the spiritual detox or awakening to spirit. I actually love that name a lot because, awakening to spirit detox, because I realized, actually when you go through this, you really awaken to yourself, or at least connect to yourself on much deeper level, right? And
So there's something, before I even talk about that, there's just one thing I want to add. So in terms of weight loss, so there's something, so beyond breathing, something everyone should know is that the food you eat, if the food you're eating, if the body can't break it down, like when we eat foods or GMO foods that are unnatural, actually our body doesn't know how to break those things down, doesn't know how to assimilate them. That's going to create weight loss. I mean, that's going to create weight gain.
Okay. So
it's going to create weight gain.
What that really means is that if the body is not able to assimilate it, it just becomes garbage, no matter what you do.
Okay. Yes, no matter what you do. Yeah. And so understanding how to eat is critical. And let me tell you, most people don't know how to eat. And that's not a criticism. It's just that we are not taught or educated about food. And even the concepts of health that are marketed to us are probably based more in wanting to sell a certain product than in the reality of whether that food is actually, assimilates with the body well. So I just want to add that. So let me talk about how this detox works. There is the physiological, there's the physical aspect of the detox that that's the part that most people understand is detox. Like, I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to use herbs, I'm going to use enemas. I'm going to do all this physical stuff in order to cleanse my organs of toxins, very old garbage. So there is that aspect to the detox. We work with a biomineral diet. It is vegan, but we do eat. Eating is important in this detox. It's not a not eating detox, because eating helps to pull out actually the garbage from the system. So this is not a non-eating experience, although although we eat very specifically. So it's biomineral, vegan diet. We change our diet, and then we use very specific herbs that are designed to tone and cleanse, specifically the intestines. Now it's going to tone and cleanse all your organs, because all your organs are part of your digestive system. All the way from your alimentary canal, your throat, from where you eat, all the way through to the colon. However, in combination with diet, the herbs will begin to disintegrate what we call the mucoid plaque, basically all the garbage that has become like sticky rubber against the walls of your organs, and pull it out. So there's that physical part of the detox, and it goes to a very specific protocol designed. It's gentle enough. It's highly effective, but gentle, together with certain teas and electrolytes and whatnot, to promote that happening in the body. Now, when your body is going through a physical detox like that, and like I said, this is what most people think of as detox, and this is where it stops for most people. And this is where awakening to spirit detox is totally different. So that is a foundation of the detox. But the more important thing, actually, is that when you are going through this process, anyone who goes through detox, they go through a lot of emotional upheaval. And that's because when we go through a trauma or some sort of a stress, actually, have you ever noticed that your digestion becomes affected when you're going through trauma or stress?
Yes, I get constipated. I get constipated whenever I have a lot of stress going on in my life.
That's right.
Whenever I have some sort of shock, shock to me, like my gut is like it really does.
Yeah, your gut is really affected. And so that means
even something as simple as me going on a long trip actually can get me constipated.
Yeah, can affect the effectiveness of your digestion. That means that when we go through stress, and I don't know anyone who has completely evaded stress in their life, that means that when we go through stress, we accumulate more garbage, actually. So, imagine years and years of that going on. So basically, when you start detoxing, all the garbage has an energetic memory of your conflicts and your stress and your trauma. And they've been living in your body. And that's why you get triggered by things and you're reactive to things, because it's living in your body. And when you go through the detox, all of a sudden, all these things start dislodging and they start floating through your system because they want to go out. So when they're attached to like your organ walls, your organs kind of represent the subconscious mind. And when they're attached to your organ walls, they're kind of in your subconscious mind. But when they start floating through the body to go out, they come to the conscious mind. It's a tremendous opportunity to resolve and heal your fundamental life issues and your conflicts. Because for once, you're going to be able to see them, feel them, and deal with them in a conscious way easily. So this is what we call emotion mapping aspect of the detox, where I say it's a before and after experience, because you're going to be able to eliminate, and I really use that word eliminate, certain programs, habits, emotional patterns, sabotaging patterns, issues for good. Because you're pulling it out of the physical body. If you keep going to do healing, some sort of healing, but you have not removed the trauma from the physical body, you're still going to get triggered, no matter how much you know about your issue. It has to literally come out of the body. Does that make sense? And when it does, then your system can truly, truly, truly reset. Yeah. So this is the magic of awakening to spirit detox. This is where the magic happens, that intersection between that emotional, spiritual healing and the physical aspects of detox. Yeah. So that's what the program is. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
No, you're not done.
Yeah.
You have something.
No. I'm done. No, I said that's was all I wanted to say was that that's where the magic of the emotional part meets the physical part, and that's the essence of awakening to spirit detox. Yeah.
So when I did like the first time I did it with you, I remember like after the detox itself, it felt like, even though I had done so much training in my life, right, and I had grown so much, and like I had been doing a lot of healing on myself for years. By the time I did the spiritual detox, after I did it, I realized and I noticed how one thing that I said to you was, it felt like there was this cloud like really hovering above me right here. And I actually didn't know that it was there, or it was such a habit that it was normal for me. And then after the detox, it felt like it just lifted and I felt so much lighter in my body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. And that's why I say it's also, there's a spiritual aspect to it. Because like, what is that cloud? It's the spiritual aspect.
What is that cloud?
You can't put your finger on it. You don't see it with your eyes, or anything, but it's there. And that's because there's an intersection. The earth has a magnetic field around it. You have a magnetic field around your body.
Yeah.
Right? We know we have an energetic field, an aura field. Your physical body, the well-being of your physical body, is both affecting the magnetism and auric field, and also the energies affecting the physical body. So detoxing is going to change your energy. It's going to change your magnetic field. It's going to change your energetic constitution.
Yeah.
For good. Yeah. For good. Yeah.
And so like in concrete ways, it's like in somebody's life, for example, I could give you my examples, but lots of examples, but like for somebody's life, for example, after somebody detoxes, like what are the kind of results that they get?
Okay, so in a concrete way, if you suppose somebody had a fear, I'm just going to use this, like they had a fear of flying, they never could get on a plane. After detoxing, they're fine.
I know. Yeah.
Something they've endured their entire life that has limited them. As simple as that. After detoxing, they're fine.
Another example.
Suppose somebody had a pattern of anger, sabotaging anger in relationships with others. They get triggered and explode, drive people away from them. After detoxing, they're noticing they don't get triggered at all. They're able to just, they're just able to see everything from a totally different, wide perspective without having to have an entire reaction to it. So they feel things, they feel more, but their ability to digest and feel and see as their energetic ability basically has massively increased.
Yeah, I will agree with that. It feels like it opens up your senses a lot more. You can feel and feel things and see things that you wouldn't if you hadn't.
Right.
And I think it's very much because also you become more present in your life and more present in your body.
Yes, you become more present in your life. And so rather than just being reactive based on trauma, you're more compassionate, mostly because you're more compassionate with yourself, actually. That's another effect of detox, actually, I want to mention. Actually, that's probably one of the greatest effects of detox, is that I find that it creates self-love in people.
I'll agree with that. I will agree with that. Yeah, because
Yeah,
you connect with yourself. Because you connect with yourself. You feel yourself. Yeah.
yeah, and I think the reason people feel self-love is because what happens is that when everything comes to consciousness, they start accepting. They start going through the process of accepting and healing all these wounds, and accepting and healing all these wounds means they're not rejecting themselves anymore.
Yeah.
Accepting and embracing and dealing with themselves. So the natural side effect is that they love themselves. And then the natural side effect of that is that they can love other people more, not so triggered by other people as well. And then their connectivity, their closeness in relationships goes up, which is really what everyone wants. Everyone really just wants to be loved.
Yes. Yeah.
And
everyone wants to also love themselves.
Also love themselves. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone just really wants love. Yeah.
So you do this pretty amazing thing where you connect with it's pretty amazing when you to watch you when you do that, when you literally connect with other people's energy bodies, and then you literally kind of go over them. You'll have to explain to everybody exactly what it is that you do, and what do you, and to find out the root cause of some sort of conflict or some sort of issue that they are having in their life. And you did that in my in Luminous Create. No, that wasn't it. That wasn't Luminous Create. You did that in Energy Immersion, one of my group programs. Right. This week, and it was pretty amazing for the participants. Can you tell everybody what it is that you do when you do that? And because I know that's part of the detox, spiritual detox, issue that are you in the life, and you did. Is that from your side? Okay, that's from your side. So what is it that you do? Can you explain a little bit what that process is so that people can understand?
The emotion mapping process, yeah.
So you're tapping into somebody else's energy field and
yeah. So yes, it is. It's tapping into somebody's energy field. Yeah.
You don't want to go
through like, how do you about this? People always ask me, they're like, how do you do that? And I'm like, well, if you have a developed sensitivity, right? Because I've been doing this a long time, detoxing a long time. Yeah. So your senses develop, and so what you can use, I'm utilizing my developed sensitivity and my empathic ability to be able to connect with what's going on in another person. And through the feelings, and information in that person's energy body, I'm able to navigate and kind of decode their issues. So why decode their issues? Because in order for an issue to be eradicated, it has to be taken out from the root. And what do I mean by it has to be taken out from the root? You may know your issues. You may say, I have this issue, and then you might say, because of blah, 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 like my mom or my dad or the situation. But trauma is very specific in the brain. It's not general. And usually trauma goes to an event, to a shock that has happened to you. And so although we think I'm this way because of XYZ, if the trauma is not resolved, it means that we don't really know why we're that way. The brain hasn't really awakened to the root or the truth of the issue, of what's behind the issue. So there's no real acceptance. And then you can't really let go of something you don't understand, that you don't know about, right? Mm-hmm. So to let go of trauma again, you have to go to the root. So this is a process of searching through the energy, using the energy. The energy is like a signpost. And through the energy and the reactivity that the other person's having and my sensitivity to it, I can see, and navigate, the events of their life to try to actually pull out the memory from their brain so that they can finally process and integrate it.
Yeah, face it and process it.
Yeah.
Transmute the energy that accompanied it.
Yes.
Out of the body.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
That's
okay. Can you tell me, can you give us an example of, you don't have to say anybody's name, like one time when you had, like, what kind of event or shock did they have in their lives, and then what did that cause in, like what event or what shock did they have in their past, and then what kind of results were they struggling with in their lives now?
Okay. Yeah, I can share about one story about a woman. She was desiring to be a public speaker. Yeah. She'd had started to do several public speaking events. But whenever she would get up to speak, she would literally, more than a panic attack, like she would have these almost like episodic reactions of kind of like a, what do you call it? Like almost like a seizure, but it wasn't a seizure, to the point where she would have to get off stage. Like it would happen and she never knew when it was going to happen. And it would happen in the middle of her doing these public kind of events. Yeah. And so she came to me and she was like, I don't understand what's going on. Why am I like this? Trying to resolve it. And what we found was this woman, she had endured in her past, this was a physical symptom that she was having. So oftentimes trauma results in physical symptoms. She had endured a rape from a serial rapist who had broken into her house. Yeah, very serious. Not someone she knew. And during his attack, we found out through working and through the session work that he smelled like smoke. And so whenever she was in a room or in a place, smoke was a trigger, but she did not realize that the smell of smoke was a trigger back into the trauma of the rape for her. Through the process of emotion mapping, we found that whenever she was exposed to smoke, she was having this type of reaction. She had gone on 20 years like that and never put those things together. And you would think it was more complicated or complex than understanding what the triggers, understanding something like that. But the thing is, at the time of a trauma, your senses, the way that our animal brain is designed is that your senses heighten. And so anything that's happening in the world of the five senses at the moment of a trauma is like exaggerated in the brain. And they all become—
They absorb it then.
Yes, you consciously absorb it. For example, if you're driving in your car and at the moment you found out that your husband was cheating on you, that you never thought would happen and you were shocked, at that moment you were looking into a bright lights forever are traumatizing for you or scary, and you don't know what.
Unless you detox it and do emotional mapping and release it.
Yeah, and you don't know why they're scary, and you don't know why they're scary. Yeah. So after we worked, those triggers totally went away, and she was able to really realize her dream as a public speaker without having these horrible episodic reactions. Yeah, and it's pretty immediate. It's not something that people think, oh, it takes time. I'm like, no, the way that the brain works is that it just needs to recognize itself.
Yeah.
It needs to vibrate. It needs to see itself in the mirror. And when it sees itself in the mirror and says some things off, it recalibrates. And so the brain just needs to be able to see what's in your what's going on. Naturally, it recalibrates. You don't even have to try. It's just what the brain is designed to do.
Okay. And so the detox is like kind of like a mirror that shows and helps you help people recognize what the conflict is. And
that's right. During the detox,
yeah.
all your information is way more accessible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so during the detox, it's an opportunity to really face everything and let it go for good. Yeah. And to let your brain recalibrate for good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if you are watching, somehow I can't see any comments. I'm sure there is comments somewhere, but I'm so sorry. I don't see comments anywhere. Do you see comments? I don't see any comments anywhere. But if you are here and then you are commenting and I will not replying to your comments, please forgive us. We will get to the comments when we see them later. We'll definitely reply to them somehow, some way. We need to figure this whole Facebook Live thing for Facebook Lives. What was my next question going to be? So, okay, here's what I was going to say. So if you are watching this, Yolessa just explained exactly what she does when she taps into people's energy bodies to find the root cause or to find like information for what's causing any sort of issue that you may be having in your life right now. And I know there are comments coming, but I can't see. Like I get notification, but I don't see it. But that's okay. I'll reply later. Anyways, so if you are here, one of the things that we are doing, this is actually going to be really, really, really exciting, is that we are doing kind of like a game where, like, if you participate in this, it's kind of like, like one way to participate or one way for you to get the opportunity to have Yolessa do this on you. Meaning if you've had any sort of like lingering pain or something that keeps coming, like any physical symptoms that keeps coming over and over and coming up over and over in your life, then here's what we're going to do. We're going to give the opportunity for people, whether you're watching this live or you are watching the replay of it, how you get to have Yolessa do this on you is number one, first, share this post with your, like people on your like profile, or share in your group or whatever, and then let us know that you've shared, and then you'll be entered to win, right? If you are here, you probably one of the first people that get to be entered to win one like live session with Yolessa like this, where she will do mini emotional mapping on you, where she really, like, whether it's a knee pain, whether it's a whatever kind of issues, can you, like, whether it's like maybe like headaches that keep coming up, whether it's depression, anxiety, whether like whatever it is, any physical symptoms, any physical issue that you keep having come up, but you just haven't figured out how to resolve it, it's because I give you the mic. If they haven't figured out how to resolve it, well, if it keeps coming up, what's the reason behind it, Yolessa?
If it keeps coming, if an issue keeps coming up, it means you haven't resolved it.
And then so she'll help you. She'll really literally put the mirror up for you so that you can see the root cause. It could be something as simple as something that you smelled unconsciously when some traumatic thing happened to you. But like actually, a lot of the times, sometimes it doesn't necessarily have to be something super traumatic. It could be somebody that has had like the most beautiful childhood or the most beautiful time in their lives, but there are certain things that trigger certain things, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. All right. Okay, so that's that. So if you are here and you want to get the opportunity, whether you are here now live or you watching the replay, just share this video. And the next thing we'll do is that the people that get to share this video, we get them entered. We just do we'll probably pick like 1 or 2 people, and you get to have a live session with Yolessa, where she actually does this on you so that you can get to the root cause of whatever issue is happening with your physical body, and resolve it once and for all. At least, like as much time as we have at the time that we do. Do you have anything else that you would like to add, Yolessa?
No, but I'm really excited. So, please, I'm like, please be brave. It's an opportunity, yeah.
Yeah, please be brave.
You're meaning like to the people, if you participate, you're really giving, it's a synchronization. So you're really giving other people an opportunity to heal, not just yourself, but everyone else. Yeah, I promise everyone's going through similar things. Yeah.
No, I know. All right. Okay, so that's it for our, we've been here for about an hour now. Ooh, we did pretty good today. Yeah. Time goes by so fast. Any last words before we leave? Oh, I guess that's what you just did, right?
Yeah.
Keep up there, sir.
That's okay.
All right, so that's that. Thank you so much for watching this, being here with us live. Thank you also so much for watching the replay. If you watch the replay, I think Yolessa and I, we're going to be doing a lot of fun things. Before we go, like, let's talk about this. So the reason why we're doing this series of Facebook Lives, it's because in January, Yolessa and I teamed up to actually bring this spiritual detox or awakening to spirit detox to a group of people that will like who is this for? This is a question. Who is this for?
So really it's for everyone, but if I have to get specific, if you have specific issues that you've never been able to overcome, this is for you. It doesn't matter really what your issues are. If you have physical symptoms that if you have pain or other physical symptoms that you haven't been able to resolve, this is also for you. If you're somebody who doesn't want to live on medication for the rest of your life, this is also for you. If you're looking for mental wellness, and well-being, or ability to manifest better, to be able to get what you want more out of your life, this is also for you. And
I would add, if you are someone that want to also awaken more of your senses, this is for you also. I'm saying that because like this is what I'm feeling the most right now, because I feel so many of my senses are opening and have opened.
And I can see how
before.
I just want to say, like, I can tell you've been detoxing because you look so good. Not that you don't look good always, but you really.
I never looked good before.
No, you always look good. But you really look good. You really look good.
I could feel that. Yeah, I could definitely feel my skin is looking better.
Your
the weight in my like I'm feeling much leaner in my gut, and it's only been like 5 days. I started, like when I was actually, this is when I knew even though I already had the idea that I wanted to detox in September. When I was in Greece, this is when I knew that it was time. We did a lot of walking and there's a lot of mountains, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe properly anymore. And I was like, oh, this is because I had like put on extra weight, but also like I could feel my body wasn't processing food as it used to. Right after the first detox, for example, and like I ate a lot of cheese when I was there, and after my detox, like before my detox, I have to share this. Before my detox, the very first time that I did the detox with you, like I had gotten into this zone where I was eliminating food groups from my diet. Why? Because my body was becoming super sensitive to things like milk, to things like cheese, to things like, each time I'll eat them, I'll get so much inflammation in my bones, right? And my body just wasn't, and I'll get so much bloated. Like I felt like inflammation, literally it felt like inflammation in my body. And then after I detox, I could eat anything I wanted to. Although, like after a while, I should probably have been like, oh well, maybe like human beings. I should probably be like, oh, But I could eat anything I wanted. But when I was in Greece recently, I ate a lot of feta cheese, yum, 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 yum. And I noticed how it was starting to create inflammation in my body. And I was like, oh, it's time. That means my body wasn't processing anymore as well as it was before, and so on and so forth. And now I feel so, I start like, it's been only 5 days and I feel so amazing. And I'm looking forward to, like, and I'm like, why didn't you do this? You see, like, when I feel myself deeper now, it's like, why don't you always take care of yourself? You see, that's what we were saying earlier. Like, it's like, when there's a little bit of a disconnect, it's easier to just go eat mindlessly and stuff like that, and not to really take care of myself. But when there's a connection, right, when I'm feeling deeper connection with myself, it's easier to say, oh, not that I will not ever eat food that I love. That's not what I'm saying. It's just like, it's more conscious. It's like there's this consciousness of, I really, really want to take care of myself for my vision, right? We talk about it for myself, and also for the work that I do, and for what do I want my life to be, which is one of the things which was really interesting, because in a video that we talked, I don't know, or in the group the other day, what you said was, at the end of the detox, what happens is that you become very, very clear about what's your next step in your life, because it's not just hello, hi, hello, Rashida. Do you know Rashida? She's in Phoenix. Have you ever met her?
I feel like I have.
Yeah, Rashida, have you ever met? All of a sudden, I see comments now. Rashida, have you ever met Yolessa? Rashida? Yeah. Anyways, like, I don't know. It takes a while. So, which is one of the things that you mentioned, is that this opens you up so that you can really maybe ask yourself the question, what do I want to do with my life? A lot of people actually feel that way. I don't see the road to, like, I'm not sure what I want to do with the rest of my life. What do I want to focus my life on? What do I want to live my life for, and stuff like that. So, yeah. Anyways, our last word lasted like 10 minutes. All right, thank you everybody for being here with us. Yolessa, thank you so much for hanging out with me and for doing our lives. We'll do more lives. Again, if you are here and you want Yolessa to do her magic on you, oh, she said that you did a reading on her online.
I think so. That's what I was going to say. I think I remember doing a reading for her.
You remember her? Oh,
yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So if you are here, Yolessa is going to do her magic on several people. And the way to get the opportunity for free, to opportunity to have this done on you, is simply by sharing this video and letting either me know or Yolessa know that you've shared, and then you'll be entered to be one of the people that wins a free session, live session like this. It's pretty magical. I can't wait for people to actually see what you do.
Right.
All right. Okay, on that note, I'm done. Are you complete?
I'm complete.
Yeah. This is from Abraham Hicks. You know, like, when, like, at the end, it's like, are we complete? Are you complete? Yeah, it's beautiful. All right, good.
All right.
Have a beautiful day.
You too.
See you later.
All right. Talk to you later.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscribe button right below this video, and also make sure that you hit the notification bell so that you are notified when I post videos just like this one. Bye.